Remember me? I'm Red, and today I'm going to be reading some r/RegularRevenge. It's going to be riveting. Ready?
You should have just paid for the dress. This is the story of an ex I used to have. The ex is not the one I got revenge on. She was a lovely woman and nothing bad to say about her. We just didn't work out. Let's call my Mrs. Jada. She's black and I'm white. Well, Jada wanted to do a photo shoot with us, so she went ahead and bought 3 very nice dresses with the intent on only using them for the photo shoot and then reselling them. I was told she paid anywhere from $80 to $150 per dress, depending on the dress. We did the photo shoot and she turned to Facebook Marketplace to resell the dresses. She sold 2 of the 3 dresses with no issues. The 3rd dress was another story. Apparently the woman she sold the 3rd dress to refused to pay. Yes, that's right. Jada sent the dress to the buyer without payment. This woman, let's call her Ashley, said the dress was not as advertised, didn't fit, etc. Jada told Ashley, hey, that's fine, just return the dress, no harm, no foul. At this point, Ashley blocked my missus. Keep in mind, this is over $50, and from what I was told, $50 for a dress worn only once like this was a really good deal. This really bugged Jada, which in turn resulted in me getting annoyed. So Jada asked me to reach out to Ashley. When I looked up her Facebook, I also felt like she might block me too, and I saw she listed her husband who was a soldier in the army. I decided before I would message Ashley, I would also add her husband as a friend. And I also wrote down his name in a note-taking app I had on my phone in case Ashley blocked me. I got Ashley to respond, and the result was the same. I ended up blocked. Now, at this point, I'm assuming that this is a simple case of females acting crazy, and I'm thinking a quick message to her husband would resolve this. Did I mention by the time this had went down, he had accepted my friend request? Boy, did this person have a lot of personal information on social media. Folks, this is a tip. Don't do that. Let's call this soldier Sergeant Johnson. I message Sergeant Johnson and I explain the situation and we have a bit of back and forth. I tell him that I think we can sort this whole mess out. The choice is simple. 1, return the dress, or 2, send us $50. Now, as I'm messaging him waiting for a response, I go through his page out of boredom and holy crap, this was a goddamn goldmine of anti-Semitic viewpoints, straight up racism, celebration of the white race, comments on news articles about black individuals being charged in crimes, on how America would be better if we split into 2 countries, one for whites and one for everyone else. Oh my god. Now he's responded. Basically he's saying, F off, in a nice way. He doesn't want to be bothered over a dress. I decide before I respond, I'll screenshot his Facebook profile. It was really helpful that not only did he list his employer as US Army, but also the unit he was in. I also screenshotted like 6 or 7 different, very racist posts he'd made. I messaged him back and told him he needs to do what's right, he needs to pay for the dress or return it, and that he needs to do what's right or it's going to cost him. He tells me his wife doesn't want to pay an N-word lover any money. And they are burning the dress because a black woman wore it. Now I'm fuming. At this point, I know what I'm going to do anyway, but I tell him very plainly, you're going to pay me for the dress or I will forward screenshots of your Facebook to your unit. He blocks me. At this point, I know I'm not going to get money, so I inform Jada of the news. She's mad, but I tell her I got an idea. Monday, I call up his unit and ask to speak to the commander, whose name I found on Google. I get put through to the commander's secretary, and I inform the secretary I have evidence an NCO within the commander's unit is a proud white supremacist. The secretary takes down my details and says the commander will reach out to me. Later that afternoon, I get a call back from a captain. Let's call him Captain Jack, because that sounds like a cool name. His actual real name sounded Jewish to me, but I didn't ask. Captain Jack and I have a conversation. I explain I discovered this soldier on social media. We had a bit of back and forth. He made racist comments about me dating a black woman. Plus, in the short period I was a friend on his Facebook page, I was able to screenshot several posts of incredibly racist viewpoints. I could tell Captain Jack was taking this seriously. I don't think any commander wants a white supremacist in their ranks, especially one that has authority such as an NCO. Captain Jack asked me if I'd be willing to forward over the screenshots. I say I got them all saved in a folder and I'd be happy to forward them over. I did not bring up the dress issue. I felt like if I did bring up the dress issue with the captain, it might muddy the waters on my report. Plus, it's only $50. Captain Jack thanked me. That afternoon I went to the ATM, pulled out 50 and went home and told my missus they had finally paid us. That way she'd get off my back. She thanked me, called Ashley a hippopotamus, and went back to watching her TV. About 6 weeks later, if I recall, I get a call from a JAG officer. For those of you who don't know, JAG is basically an active duty lawyer. The JAG officer asked me if I'd be willing to answer some questions in regards to my report. I say of course. Answer the questions. I ask the JAG officer what's going on and I get the response I was hoping for. I'm sorry, but I can't discuss an ongoing investigation. It sounded like he had a smile on his face. We both knew what that meant. Now, I have a friend who was in the same unit. I fill him in on what's going on and tell him that I'm curious if anything happens. Several months go by and one day I get a call from my buddy. Hey, you know that Sergeant Johnson? I go, yeah. He laughs and says, he's not a sergeant anymore. He's not in the army anymore. He's been kicked out on an other than honorable discharge. I go, did they say why? My friend tells me, well, he didn't get an official reason. Right after that he was kicked out of the unit, they had a briefing on racism within the ranks and how to report it, and a lesson on what you can and can't post on social media. That's all over $50. Some people just have the revenge bone in their body. And some people are just racist bumheads who don't deserve to have access to social media, let alone post on it. Okay, here's the next story. My grandma was a horrible person and a worse driver. I made sure she lost her license. Grandma was a monster. Let's leave it at that. She was cruel and sometimes violent to our entire family and even her friends. Grandma also happened to be the world's worst driver. She would hit parked cars and drive off without leaving a note, litter out of the window, and generally drive like a psycho. Grandma refused to see a doctor. She had a mortal fear of being institutionalized, for good reason. So when she had some physical problems, she wouldn't get them treated. She was driving around with one hand and couldn't really turn her head to look around either. Mum set up grocery delivery, etc., but Grandma wouldn't give up driving voluntarily. Well, California has a law on the books that allows anyone to report a dangerous driver to the DMV and request a re-examination. It exists because so many people like me have relatives who are no longer physically and or mentally fit to drive, and we may not be able to make them stop on their own. You can request to remain anonymous. I filled out the form and oh boy, did I have a lot of dirt on Grandma's driving habits. I had to use extra pages. I made sure to tell them she was driving one-handed and couldn't look around properly. Sure enough, Grandma got a letter from the DMV. They insisted she take the driver's test again and required she received a medical examination first. I knew damn well Grandma wouldn't see a doctor, and she didn't. Since she refused to comply with the DMV within the required time frame, they suspended her license. The suspension was indefinite, pending the medical exam and driver's test. Since she refused both, her license was never reinstated. Grandma planned to ignore the suspension, so Dad secretly disabled her car. Grandma eventually had to go to a care facility, and I would have to take Mum to visit her. I would stand back, only speaking to Grandma when absolutely necessary, and sharing nothing personal. She craved attention, among other things. She was a narcissist, so I ignored her as much as possible. By the way, I was Grandma's favourite grandchild. I never did tell her that I was the reason she had her license suspended. I mean, it's funny, but also terrifying. There are so many people who are driving who should not be on the roads. So, really, I don't think this is a revenge. This is just you doing the right thing. I hope you guys enjoyed those r/regular revenge stories read by me, Red. Please give the video a like, because I know you did enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks so much, guys. Have a good day. Bye-bye.